Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card video. Today I'm creating a pretty easy to make card. I'm using this new set by Simon Says stamp called Fractile Leaves. It's part of the Stamptember release. And also this Thoughtful Messages. I really like the font on this set. The first thing I'm going to do is stamp 3 of these leaves onto some Nina Solar White cardstock with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And then I've pulled 3 reds, 3 oranges, 3 yellows, and 4 greens from my stash of Copic markers. I'll be combining the reds and oranges on the first leaf, the oranges and the yellows on the second leaf, and then the yellows and the greens on the third leaf, so I have continuity from left to right on the card. So I'll grab my reds and oranges for the first leaf and get started. So I am going to put the tallest leaf on the left-hand side, and I'm just going to work my way from my darkest red to my lightest orange, and I'm randomly coloring in these different areas of my leaf. And I'm just kind of spacing them out so that I don't have 2 of the same color right next to each other. For my second one, this is the middle one. I'm putting the smallest one in the middle. I'm going to move from my darkest orange to my lightest yellow. And then for the third one, finally, I'm going to start with my yellows actually. So I'm going to do dark yellow, medium, and light. And then I'm going to move in with my greens. Now, I pulled 4. I'm not sure why I just pulled 4, but you could pull 3 or whatever you have on hand. Okay, so once I have all these colored, I'm going to cut them out. There are dies, but I don't have them, so I'm just going to cut them out with a scissor. To make these leaves just a little bit more special, I'm going to clear emboss them. So rather than trying to hold them and do it, I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back. Temporary is the best. I don't have any, so I'm just going to put a tiny bit of permanent and stick them all to this scratch piece of cardstock. So now I can take my Versamark ink pad and cover the whole thing with this ink. And by the way, I just got a new Versamark pad and I didn't realize how incredibly dry my old one is. So if you're having trouble with some embossing and your embossing powder isn't sticking very well, try getting a new Versamark pad. Okay, so I've put my clear embossing and I've heat set it, and now they're all shiny. Now, if you have temporary adhesive, these should easily come off. Mine was permanent, so I kind of had to push my paper piercer under there a little bit, but it was just fine, and so I just pulled them off this piece of cardstock. I'm going to make my background really light so these leaves really stand out. I have a piece of Simon Says Stamp fog cardstock that I've cut to about 1.5 inches, and I'm centering it on my card base, and I'm just marking it so I know where my stamping needs to go. Now this is some fog ink which coordinates with the fog cardstock. I love this ink. It's one of my favorite inks. It's a great way to add a background without too much distraction. And I'm going to stamp the 3 leaves, the same ones I just used, on the background. So I actually did a version of this with the smaller stamps in the set and just did a bunch of smaller ones for the background, and I felt like it was too busy. So I thought it looked better just to use the stamps I already used when I did the leaves. Okay, so now I'm looking to see if I've covered everything and it looks good. So I'm going to put some tape runner on the back of my fog strip, and I'm putting it in my MISTI because I want it to be straight, and I know that if I put it right up against the edge of my MISTI and my fog piece I know is cut straight because I cut it in my trimmer, then it should go straight across without any problems. So I've just positioned my leaves to see where my sentiment needs to go. I'm going to ink it up with some VersaFine Black Onyx ink. It's one of my favorite black inks for sentiments because it really produces a really crisp image. I'm adding some Stampin' Up! Foam dimensionals on the back of these leaves. And then I'm going to measure the halfway point on my fog strip so that I can center my middle leaf first. So I'll take the release backing off these dimensionals, and I'm going to make it so that the bottom of the leaf is at the bottom edge of my fog strip, and that's how all my leaves will be. So once I get that center leaf done, then I can work on the side ones. And so I'm just going to barely tap it into place. You can see that I've got the bottom lined up with the bottom of the fog strip. And once I know that I've got them in a good place, I'm going to press them down to secure them in place. And that is the card for today. So I really made sure that the background was light so that these leaves really stood out on the card. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.